Shalom, everyone. Shalom. Welcome to the Hebrew of Israel channel. Tonight isn't going to be a very long live. I just wanted to make a short comeback, just to tell everyone that I think everything went well with the interview with Rabbi Harry Rosenberg. So he's not going to be coming back tonight. I feel like he answered a lot of the questions. And in future episodes, I'll be sure to have him come back to the show. But for now, I feel like everything was answered for the most part. So I just wanted to make that caveat and make that known. But other than that, if people don't have any questions, I can probably end it here in a minute. But if y'all have any questions about previous videos that I've done, you can ask that. But other than that, that's all I had to share, because I feel like everything was answered earlier today from today's live. And if you want to check it out, it's in the playlist titled Live Streams. If you want to find that video, it's about 40 minutes long. It was a nice build. Asked about African Jews. We asked about building the community, stuff like that. The emergingness of Hebrewisms within African Americans. So, but if anyone doesn't have any questions, I probably end it here. Let me see. Thank you. I guess I'll show show my channel and the way it kind of works. So let's see. If you're new to the channel, this is the Hebrew of Israel channel, where I talk about DNA, archaeology, language, and my previous videos were about the origins of Afroasiatic and the origins of Semites. I'd advise that you check out the videos dealing with DNA, explaining what DNA is, chromosomes, genes, alleles, autosomal DNA, STRs, etc. And then you can jump into the videos dealing with the origins of Afroasiatics, as well as the origins of Proto-Semites, from Shem to Eber to Abraham, and to the genome and phenotype of Semites. All these playlists I have are very important, even the ones, especially the ones that I didn't, the videos that I didn't make. For instance, if you want to know about an old Earth and a young Earth perspective, look into those videos, But let me see what y'all are saying real quick. Shalom, Ru. Shalom. Volume up. Let's see. Are all L haplogroups ancient Kush? I personally wouldn't say all L haplogroups are ancient Kush. L was very widespread, so I would say that L would encompass both the descendants of Shem and Ham in a roundabout way. Let me see. So they only want people to convert to Rabbinical Judaism. I don't know. That's a good question. I have to talk to a few more rabbis, a few more Jewish people when it comes to making connections to Israel. From what I hear, it kind of seems like converting is like the best option to go to the land. From what I hear, but I have to talk to more to get a more proper understanding of all that. So maybe I have a few more rabbis on the show in the future. Did you want to tackle that question, Ru? I don't know if he's there. Let's see. I heard him say they are scared because more than 10 million people between Ghana and Nigeria alone doesn't mean. Yeah, there actually would be a lot of African Jews are Hebrews. If you look at everything from like from like a perspective of them all waking up, there would be a lot. And politics, to a certain extent, is involved. I can't deny that there is politics, but that's why he also said, which was interesting, forming a political party to make a case for yourself. Um, that was actually really interesting. I even need to go back and listen to that part. Um, let's see. They don't. Oh, that's interesting. I assumed that the Mizrahi practiced rabbinical Judaism. I didn't know they didn't. That's interesting. You have to look into that some more. It's pretty cool. Cool thing to know. Which video can you put the title for that one? By the way, Ru, I told everyone in the beginning that Rabbi Harry Rosenberg kind of answered a lot of our questions already, so he doesn't have to come to the show tonight. But in the future, we can have him again on the show, and he said he's down for that, coming back on in the future.
Sounds cool. Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, hopefully it'll be sometime. Maybe within this month or next month.
Right, right. And I think Roma Yahoo had that wrong about the Mizrahi not practicing rabbinical Judaism. I believe that's the specifically the Egyptian Karaites who don't practice rabbinical Judaism, not all Mizrahi, because he specifically talked about the Mizrahi, if I remember, and that would encompass those who were in Babylon.
Yeah, that's what first came to mind was the Iraqi Jews when he said Mizrahi. Uh,
Right, right. I believe that was one of his points was that the fact that the Mizrahi, the all right, I'm sorry. He was saying that the Yemenite, what was it, the
the
Sephardic and
Sephardic
the
and the
Ashkenazim
yeah,
all came back with the same culture. So maybe on that point, Ramayahu was right.
yeah, that is interesting. There are 10 million in yeah, there would be a lot of if we're going with the genetic perspective of African Americans or peoples from Western Africa being descendants of Hebrews. Uh, there would be a lot in Brazil and the Americas in general. Let's see. Okay, I'll check it out. And he said that's it, by the way. Rue.
Okay, that's cleared up.
Was there anything you wanted to share, by the way? I wasn't going to have this be a long live. I was just want to tell everybody that the rabbi isn't coming tonight. I wanted to at least have a live stream and to say it because I can't make a community post and didn't want to just not not have a live stream, not show up, and people kind of be waiting. Like I thought he was gonna have a live stream. I want to at least show myself.
Yeah, yeah, I appreciate you doing that. Not, I don't really have anything to say. I appreciate everybody coming out earlier and showing their support and behaving themselves appropriately.
Right, right. Yeah, I feel like everybody did pretty well in the comments. A lot of people were intrigued, so that's good. I was studying Jewish culture around the world. All of them don't keep rabbinical Judaism. Some communities keep the Torah. If it's culture. Yeah, yeah. I guess Hebraic culture would be different depending on what part of the world you're in. Like for instance, the Pashtun, they probably don't practice rabbinical Judaism. They probably practice their own version of Afghani Judaism. You want to tackle that question, Ru?
Yeah, yeah. I was just gonna say that yeah, we do find that in different communities that claim to be Jewish or to have Hebrew roots, that they do have different practices that emerged from their diaspora or are pre first diaspora in the first place. So it's pre Assyrian captivity. So if that be true, they may have some difference in practices. And as far as wanting to retain that over rabbinical Judaism, I would agree that there should be some type of give and take in that scenario where they're if they're holding on to something that actually predates the rabbinical um, codification of the ways to do things, then this should be allowed. But that's my personal opinion, and this is where getting more politically active in our approach comes in.
Yep, definitely. I want you to get who is that, by the way? Do you know who that is, Rue? Stephen Pigeon.
No, I do not, but I will look.
I wonder if that's a rabbi. By the way, I think your mic cut out, or at least for on my end. Let me see. Yeah. Yeah, and the crazy part is that it matches scripture, the or resembles. Yeah, yeah. Mm. Regarding genetics, aren't they based off the Ashkenazi Jews? Who is they? Can you put the people group you're referring
Yeah,
to?
yeah. You gotta get real specific on that one.
Yeah, because they could be anyone. Oh, he wrote the Sefer. Okay,
Oh, the Sefer. Okay, okay, okay.
that's
Yeah,
interesting.
that'd be interesting because I would like to ask him why he decided to, I guess, try to blend different Semitic dialects together in order to present a quote unquote true Hebrew. But when we look at this from a scholarship point of view, um, we know that the Yemenite Hebrew is one of the purest forms, and they're nothing alike when it comes to the Sefer. But I would love to talk to this guy because I know a lot of people love this Sefer scriptures, and it's a very popular book, very expensive book too.
Yeah, I have to get his email, and he'll probably come onto the show. Have you there as well? Who wrote the Sefer? It is this guy. I have to look into him. I think there's a Sefer version of the on the app on the phone app. I remember reading
Yeah,
something.
I thought it was paid for. I thought it was like a paid subscription app.
Let me check real quick. I had a Sefer, but I don't know if it was his version. But I did have a free Sefer Bible app. Let me see. Uh, okay, yeah, there is one that you have to pay for 29. I mean, not 29, 21.99, and then there's a Sefer abridged version, which is free. Okay, let's see. Not tonight. Not tonight. For everyone that's new that's coming, I told the rabbi that he kind of answered a lot of the questions already earlier today, so he really didn't have to come back tonight. But he did say he is down for coming on in future episodes. So this isn't the last we'll see or hear of Rabbi Harry Rosenberg. He'll come in future videos. But since he already answered everything, I figured that he didn't really have to come again. But I made this live because I wanted to verbally tell y'all instead of just not show up and there be no video. And I already told people to come, so I just wanted to sort of honor my word to a certain extent. The guy. Do you know who that is as well? Rue. I don't know everyone that translates these scriptures. It's kind of interesting. Low White translates scriptures like him. I have to check out Lao White. Yeah, you got to pay for the app. Yep. Just even the Cohen line. Is that a question or more of a statement?
I think that's related to the question earlier that she had about the Ashkenazi Jews, the DNA being based on Ashkenazi Jews, and that, when it
Oh,
comes to the Cohen model type and it being based on haplogroup J, yes, that kind of is. But there are developing model types that include E, and we have to start bringing the scholarship to the table in order to push that issue. It's not going to happen on its own.
right, right. We really got to show everyone that there's more than just the J marker that could be a candidate for the ancient Israelites, that the E marker has just as much of a strong case as J. And there are Samaritan Jews from the lineage of Kohanim or Kohan that have E markers. They have 100% E, which is fascinating. Fascinating. Let's see.
Yeah, that's a big corroborator for scripture, to be specific, because the scripture says that the Samaritans were given legitimate Levitical priests. And for those Levitical priests to have 100% E is a very telling thing.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yes, he was on earlier today. I think at around like I would say 2 o'clock. He came on 2 or 3 o'clock, and it was a pretty good build. It was about 40 minutes. Uh, and actually, if y'all want to check out live streams, I advise that you look at my playlist titled Live Streams, and that's how you can find all the live stream videos. This one will be on there as well. But yeah, he was on here earlier today. It was pretty good. It's a glorified KJV, the Sefer Bible.
Yeah, in my estimation, as somebody who's actually learning the language in at an efficient level, it has nothing to do with original Hebrew. It's people who were raised in Christianity, separated from the Hebrew language and Jewish customs, trying to throw it together on their own. And anytime you got people making stuff up on their own, I tend to stay away from them.
Ooh, that's cold. Now I'm playing.
No, hey, yeah, you gotta be careful because
Yeah,
people
you're right.
making stuff up out of men who create doctrines and understandings based off of their own brain rather than looking to the ancient past and the ancient sources. I, that's not scholarship. It's dogma.
You're right. You're right. Yep. He said he writes the Natsar scripture. Are you familiar with that one?
No, never heard of it. Looking into it right now. From what I'm seeing, he has a pretty big catalog on Amazon.
Okay. And also, if you want to share your screen at all, just tell me whenever you feel like it. Let me see. Sorry, I thought he was saying Harry wrote the Sefer. No, Harry didn't write the Sefer. No, a guy named Steven did. I have the app, and oh, you have the app in the book. Oh snap, that's pretty good. I have to look into it. How is it possible to trace your lineage back to Moses, like Harry said he has? I think Harry said that his rabbis was taught, like his rabbi's knowledge was passed down, beginning from Moses all the way to his rabbi. I don't think he said it was like a lineage thing, but it was like the stories and the oral testimony was passed down. But I don't think he said lineage because the rabbi doesn't really get into lineage like that. Did you want to tackle that question?
Yeah, yeah. When the rabbi was talking about lineage, he's speaking about rabbinic lineage, meaning like who taught who. Because in rabbinic thought, to have taught somebody is the same thing as having, become their father.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I thought as well when you said it. I was thinking it was more like teaching. It was passed down rather than lineage.
Right, right. Like the whole idea of begat so and so in like the King James version. That's all. That's all it is. It's just a certain type of slang term for like this is who taught so and so, who taught so and so, who taught me.
Mm-hmm. The limba goes by white Jew blood. Uh, yeah. When their DNA was tested, um, limba males did have J markers. I think that's what you mean by white Jew blood. But they also had E markers, T markers, and I think another marker. I can't remember, but I know they had E and T as well. So they're a hodgepodge. They're not just all J. Don't let anybody ever tell you that.
Which
They
would
got
make sense since the Levant was a zone of confluence and many different peoples traded different items and including people. So we should see some type of influence of different genetics within different people groups, as we see with the Fula and and different West African tribes also.
yeah, Fula, Hausa, and Chadic people. Yep. It's not a pay subscription. Oh, that's good. So basically, once you pay it, you have it for good. You don't have to like keep paying monthly. I love stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that's what the app's like. I don't think it's like a monthly subscription.
Good, good. Because I don't like I don't like paying stuff for monthly. Uh, let's see. He was capping. I don't know who that is. Mr. Forgiven. Okay. Well, I think you tagged. Oh, that must be a tag. Okay, my bad. Okay. Are you familiar with that one, Rue? I have to look
Yeah,
that up. Matthew.
yeah, yeah. I've heard this. I've also I believe it's taught by some Rastafarians or Ethiopian Jews that the Gihon River was that river, and the current Gihon Spring is not the legitimate Gihon Spring in Israel, or something like that. So I'm not sure if that's what he's getting at, but yeah, I have heard something along these lines.
Okay. I'm looking it up right now. Here, I'll pull it up on screen. I'll pull up the scripture. Genesis 2, chapter. Genesis chapter 2, verse 13. I'm gonna do the old KJV and see what it says. Let me see.
Yeah, something a lot of people don't know about the King James version is that while it was using the latest and greatest manuscripts at the time, we have older manuscripts now that predate what they use, and we have more accurate translations today, much more accurate.
Yeah, I have to find those so I can use that instead of this. And the name of the second river is Gihon, and the same is that it compassed the whole land of Ethiopia. Okay, that's kind of the second river Gihon, which can come. Yeah, that's kind of the same thing, a little bit. I want to check out the video. Yeah, just put the title of the video in the chat, and then I'll be sure to look into it. Yeah, he was talking about a rabbinical bloodline. Oh, really? Okay. Shalom Amir. Is this Ngozi? I'm not for sure. I don't know if this is a different account, but this is Amir Ngozi. Shalom. Different haplogroups claim different codenames. Ultimately, they are all right. Samaritan Levites, Ashkenazi J. Until yeah. Different codename families claim, or not claim. Different codename families have different haplogroups. Most known ones are obviously E and J. They're the main contenders. But yep, you're right. Yep. Genesis chapter 2, verse 13. Yep. Let's see. I think I skipped. Yeah, they're three for sure. Rabbi said on another show he traced back to King David. That's interesting. Go. I'll add that to like the questions. I'm not I have
I
to
do
hear him
remember
say
that
it.
one.
Oh, he did? Okay.
He didn't say that during our interview, but I have heard him say that in the past, which is
Was it
it's a common
maternally or
trope.
paternally?
I'm not sure. It's a common trope among certain groups. And while there are some who are legitimate, maybe like the what do they call it, the exilarchs? There's different little families that have an oral tradition and they carry E haplogroups. So we should look at those rather than getting hung up on trying to disprove somebody else.
Yep. I agree. Fully agree. EJT, yeah. Yeah, the Lemba, who are Bantu speakers, was basing their claims on J, and that E1B1A is not a factor. E1B1A is the most common Bantu speakers. Or yeah. When it comes to the Lemba being Jews or being considered descendants of Jews, they're looking more so at the J marker rather than at the E marker. Yep, you're right about that. He was Yeah, I have to ask him about the lineage thing to King David. It'll be interesting to hear. I'm not gonna be too rude to him about it. I'm just gonna ask him. Have you ever used? Yeah, I've used JetMatch. I've used it. I'll cover JetMatch in future episodes. It's a really good tool. There's other tools like it out there, and it's pretty decent. Have you heard of? Yes, I've heard of My True Ancestry. I do think it's a good DNA company. Although, if I were to recommend people to use to take a DNA test, I would just tell them to take Ancestry.com and 23andMe first, and then after that, you can download your raw DNA data and you can upload it to other DNA companies. I went the very long route in the past of buying a bunch of kits and waiting for months to get my results back and stuff like that. But I realized as of lately that you can just download your raw DNA data from one company like 23andMe, and then you can just upload it to all these other companies like MyHeritage, Family Tree DNA, GEDmatch, etc., etc. So if I were you, I would just take 23andMe or Ancestry.com and upload your raw DNA data to other DNA companies instead of just buy a bunch of kits and wait for months for your results to get back. You can just wait a couple of hours or a couple of days for your results to get back. Did you want to tackle that, Rue?
Yeah, I would say I agree. 23andMe, myancestry.com, or is that the right one? Or is it
Yeah, my Ancestry.com, Ancestry.
oh, Ancestry. I'm sorry. Ancestry.com, 23andMe, DNA Genix, and what's the other one? My Living DNA. Um, those are by far my favorite.
Yep. Those are the best top three. Oops, I pushed the wrong question. All right. Okay, that is Amir. Okay. Shalom, Amir. What's up?
Shalom,
I
shalom.
wasn't for sure. Oh, salam. Uh, go to my Sword Bible app and you can download. Okay, I'll check it out. The science article where C haplogroup C is mentioned as being is is that the name of the title? Uh, can you put the title or the link? I'd like to know about that because I've never heard of C being yap positive. I think that's genetically impossible, but I like to read the paper on that. I'm not gonna respond to that. Um, oh, he is interesting. I didn't know that. Okay, let's see. What other companies can I upload my DNA to besides GEDmatch? I want to find my haplogroup on GEDmatch, my population sharing results. You can handle that, Ru.
Yeah. For your haplogroup, you want to go with 23andMe, and then for your tribe, you want to go with My Living DNA. And then for like your best estimates as far as your ancient DNA and your modern populations, I would go with DNA Genix.
Yep. So was anyone thinking about converting to rabbinical Judaism? For me, as of now, no. I have to look more into it. I can't just convert to something that I'm not too familiar with. So I have to look into the ins and outs and understand what I'm doing and what it means to do that. But as of now, no, not for me. I gotta actually study.
For me, I don't believe it's completely necessary to convert to rabbinical Judaism, as Harry said. It's more necessary that we take back on our own culture. Um, you could go look at Zion Lex's recent videos where he talks about West African Jews having Talmud and Mishnah. And if that was part of our culture, even in West Africa, then that's something that we should practice. We shouldn't be afraid of it. We should look into it. We should know it better than anybody else so no one can use it against us anymore.
Yeah, agreed. I'm slowly looking into things like the Book of Jubilees. I mentioned it on the channel before, and into the other books. That can be beneficial to us. Yeah, yeah. I know a lot of us aren't. I understand. I get it. It's foreign to us. We don't know too much about it, so I get why there'll be some pushback or some concerns. So I
I would
understand.
just say be a thorough investigator. Not only should you play prosecutor, but you should also play defense attorney. So if you're gonna make a case for or against anything, you should thoroughly investigate it, and you should not only play prosecution, but you should play defense and build equally vigorous arguments for each side, and then come to your best conclusion.
Agreed. Yes, Harry is. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, Harry is R1A. All right. When he was saying that he was a descendant of King David, he also may have meant maternally as well, because I know maternal is a little bit more used. Did you want to tackle that?
No, it's not an issue
Okay.
for me.
You, yeah, you gotta definitely like first get a kit from like 23andMe, and then after that you can just upload your DNA to other websites. But yes, you
Yeah,
do first have to at least buy a kit.
yeah. 23andMe is the best one for your just to get your basic information on your haplogroup, and then you can run that through DNA Genix, which will give you a more accurate, uh, uh, I guess, upscaled version of what specific group you belong to.
Right. It's not necessary, but it is something you
Right,
should
right.
know. Yeah, yeah,
We
I
should
agree.
we should know these things very well so that nobody can misconstrue or you know I don't like the idea of people using word salad or using big words that may go over the certain people's heads to appeal to superiority or to higher intellect. So I'm a huge advocate of everyone studying everything because it's our job to defend the faith and to call things out and rebuke and exhort. So if you're claiming to be Israel, realize that it's your responsibility to be the light to the nations. So you should not just speak based off of internet memes or internet scholarship or YouTube scholarship. You should be speaking based off of the highest level of scholarship available. That's
It's
what this channel is about. It brings out the highest level of scholarship from papers from today's realm, and that's what we should be doing in every area.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. I think that question might be for you because I have not. Gino Jennings. I've not. Yeah, I haven't read Gina Jennings.
No, I haven't read it either. Like I said before, I'm not a big fan of Christian uh, translations of scripture because a lot of the time they put their own theological point of view into the scriptures to lead you into their uh, denomination rather than allowing you to read the plain text.
Yeah, Divine Prospect covered this topic for ancient Islam customs. Yeah, yeah, I've heard of that as well from Divine Prospect. Yep.
But yeah, even Devon Prospect says that he keeps Mishnah, so he does hold on to his Mishnah, and he does use it to understand the context for the scriptures. So we should at least have that.
Yeah. The mission is basically what? It's just commentary, no different than modern day Bible commentary that we might read.
No. It's the rulings of the Sanhedrin from the times of the Second Temple, and
Oh, okay.
according to Deuteronomy, we are to do the rulings of the Sanhedrin or the judges, or penalty of death. So if we're going to take the Torah serious, we should also take serious those rulings.
Got it. Okay. I guess commentary would be more like the Talmud or something.
Yeah. The Talmud is adding literal commentary from midrashes and other stories that aren't supposed to be taken literal, but they're there to uh, drill or to make a certain point very clear.
Okay, got it. See, wants to make drugs. I'm not. I don't know about that. I have to look
Nah, this
into
is
that.
true.
Oh,
Yeah,
it is?
this is true. Yeah, not only are there American companies that are looking to do this, there's also Chinese companies that are looking to buy our DNA data so that they can make different drugs and also bio weapons. So that's something to look out for.
All right, I have to look into that then. That's interesting.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
definitely want to look into that.
I have the Talmud and the Mishnah in my phone. I don't miss. Oh, that's interesting.
Well, if you don't want to be a Pharisee, you might want to just drop your entire New Testament. You might want to drop Yeshua, the understanding of a Messiah to come, because I hate to break it to you, but the Pharisees were the ones who taught that. And Yeshua was doing polemics in the New Testament against the Pharisees because he was within the Pharisees. You didn't fight with people that you weren't close to.
I didn't know you can get the Talmud and the Mishnah on your phone. That's interesting.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's apps where you can download them. There's certain books in that you can check out, like Jesus the Pharisee, Mishnah in the words of Yeshua. He was teaching out of the Mishnah. A lot of the teachings that he gave predate him. And we need to understand this, because this is actually where, certain rabbis in, what are they called? Anti-evangelists or something like that. You know what I'm talking about? Like the rabbis who go out there and try to convince people to abandon Christianity or to abandon
Oh yeah.
Yeshua.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Uh, you have these guys going out there and they're using our ignorance against us because we don't understand first or second temple Judaism, or the culture, or the ways of writing or teaching that was around at that time. They're able to use that ignorance to convince us that we believe in just made up fairy tales, when the things that we believe came out of second temple Pharisaical thought.
All right. Yep. Definitely. Definitely not easy. But yeah, it's definitely worth it. Yep. I found sources that use the term Levant, referring to sub-Saharan Africa, including the desert of. Can you send me those sources? That's interesting. I haven't heard of that. That'd be a bit thing for me to read. I agree with much of the text. Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna at least read the mission of the Talmud to see what it's about and to understand it. But
Right. For the average person who reads it and they've studied the New Testament, they won't read anything new. It'll be the same concepts just repeated that are repeated in the New Testament, because all the concepts within the Mishnah are from 200 years beforehand, before the
right,
New Testament was written. So we have to have this context for our own culture if we're going to practice it. We can't just act like they didn't have any type of oral traditions, because we're Afro-Asiatic people. Afro-Asiatic people had oral traditions.
right, that's true. Oh,
Dang.
okay, all right.
Uh, Not necessarily. There is commentary within the Mishnah, but the Mishnah is the rulings of interpretation set forth by the Sanhedrin in the Second Temple. Now, if you want context for that, Yeshua said, everything the Pharisees and scribes teach, do, but don't do it as them. For they teach, but they don't do. And they lay heavy burdens, but they don't lift a finger to help. So he's not saying don't do what they taught, or not to do what they did. He's saying not to practice the way they practice. So actually do it for the sake of heaven rather than for other people to see. And you'll actually find this within the Talmud, where it says there's 7 different types of Pharisees. One who goes around to be seen, another one who's always bent over, another one who's always like starving himself, and then one who actually does it for the sake of heaven. So it's a nuanced approach. We can't try to use brushstroke statements for an entire time of history that didn't happen in a vacuum. It happened within the political and cultural time that it took place in, and we can't remove it from that and try to interpret it based off of how we see things now. You have to put it back in its cultural context, interpret it as the same way they taught it, and then move forward from there.
Yep. Yep. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely gonna have to get into it. So, because I do think knowing that would probably help my understanding of the Torah and break some of the Western thought and the Greek thought that's in our minds. Yep.
Yeah, we have to understand a lot of the arguments that we're making against, Judaism, quote unquote, or against Mishnah and Talmud, are the very same arguments that Gentiles were making against the Jews of the time of the early turn of the century, because they didn't want to submit themselves under the Jews' reign. They wanted to interpret the scriptures for themselves. They wanted to make up halakha for themselves, and they didn't want to adhere to the rulings and principles of the Jews in Jerusalem.
Mm.
So we have to have context for these things, so we're not over here borrowing the very arguments that our oppressor used against us.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I don't know which part in the conversation. No, I don't agree with that. I don't know which part specifically. Yeah, I agree. I do pray that the Most High does put us on the correct path. We definitely got to keep praying for that. That we're stay on the correct path. Yep.
Yeah, there's plenty of scholarship that proves otherwise. You can't prove that he's in a scene because the scenes didn't go in public. They didn't participate in public life. They stayed to themselves. They didn't believe in polluting themselves with everyday people. He wasn't a Sadducee because Sadducees did not believe in the afterlife. They did not believe in the world to come, and they did not believe in a Messiah. The only people who taught that there was a Messiah to come and dealt with the everyday people were Pharisees. We have to look at this history. There are hundreds of books on this, and we need to look at each one if we're going to speak on it.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, that's 100% true.
Yep.
You can look at the Yoruba people, you can look at the Igbos, you can look at the Ewe, you can look at the Ashanti. They all have Hebrewism within their culture, but they don't have them as a whole. And that's because they didn't have a codified version of it. They didn't have it written down for them to keep. So I think there's some, that's why I said earlier, there's some give and take that we need to approach this with some nuance so that we can improve where we can, and retain our culture where we can also.
Yep. Yep. I'm probably gonna go for about an hour, so I'll end it here in about 10 minutes. I'm gonna try to get through some of these questions quickly. Oh, really?
Exactly. You can't tie a zit without the Mishnah, because there's no teachings within the Torah about how to tie a zit, how to sacrifice properly, how to create certain things. All these things are kept within the Mishnah, and that's why they're fairly important for us to at least acknowledge and at least look at. The sister, or I mean, sorry, Warren Buckets here is correct.
Yep. Yep. I don't know if you're referring to me or my guest, Rue, but you can
Pretty
put
sure
that.
you were the one asking for sources. Remember?
Oh yeah, that's right. My email is in the about of my YouTube channel. Here, let me actually show you. Let's see here. If you go to my about part of the of my YouTube channel, you will see my Facebook, my Twitter, and my Instagram, my Clubhouse, and my email. And so, if you just go right here, you can send me all the information that you have. Let's see. I think the Pharisees actually believed in. Oh, interesting. Did you want to tackle that one? That's pretty interesting.
Well, that's true because the Pharisees are the ones who kept the oral traditions. The Sadducees refused them. They disagreed and broke with Nehemiah and Ezra. And the Essenes didn't deal with the temple anymore because it got polluted by, I can't remember who it was, but there was a certain ruler who put in a whole new caste of priests in Israel. And he corrupted the entire temple. And then, so a lot of Essenes, they left because of that. And after there were some political shakeups, they reformulated and passed laws in the Sanhedrin in order to retain power. And then that's when you get into, the houses of Hillel and Shammai coming up, and the house of Shammai taking over during the period that Yeshua was doing his work.
All right. I'll check it out.
Yes, fantastic app. Has every Hebrew source that you can think about.
Add that to the
Doesn't
list.
have the New Testament though. It's a strictly Jewish app.
I have that Levant folder in my email. Okay. Ooh, did you want to
Nah,
tackle that?
nah, that's not in there. A lot of people claim that, but people who claim that never read it.
All right. Moving on from that. The Sadducees.
Correct. They were actually a group of they were not only Edomites, but they were also Ishmaelites who had converted.
Wow, very
And
interesting.
actually, what's his name? Caiaphas was actually a Roman convert who was placed there by Rome. So he was an illegitimate high priest.
Mm. Kind of like how King King Herod was the illegitimate Judean king.
Yeah, exactly. Because the Romans wanted to take over all of Jewish life. So they would appoint their own rulers. They appointed their own priests. They appointed their own king. They appointed their own high priest.
Mm-hmm. All right. What books? Oh, that's a good question, actually.
What do you mean by fraudulent? That's kind of hard to say because all of those books were, I believe, written before 700 AD. Um, I know a lot of people cling to Second Esdras, and I believe that was written in between 300 and 500 AD. So you're talking about a book that wasn't even written by Esdras. It was written by maybe one of his followers or somebody who believed in his oral tradition or teaching, and finally wrote it down. But I would say you wanna try to glean truth from the Apocrypha. You don't because from the first century context, all of the Apocrypha would be considered scripture
Hmm.
because because you have I believe I can't remember who it is in the New Testament, but someone points to the book of Jasher in the New Testament. The book of Jasher is also pointed to as being scripture in the Old Testament. When you look at some of the different writings of the time of the contemporary with the New Testament, you find that they were reading all types of different esoteric writings that were written down by different people. So the that's kind of a hard question for me to answer because of there's so many different ones that we don't know where their source was. I would just stay away from anything that's linked to Gnosticism for me.
All right. I put my email in the chat here. I'll let Rue answer a question while I put it in the chat. Here's a good one.
quote Esdras. I said second Esdras. But again, this goes back to the times they were written. Second Esdras was written between 300 and 500. Matthew was written well before, so second Esdras could be just quoting Matthew. This is also one of the things that people run into when you're dealing with the Mishnah and you're dealing with the words of Yeshua and some of the teachings within the New Testament, is that you find similarities between them. So they're like, okay, who quoted who here?
Yeah. Yeah, that's another thing to think about. Yep.
Exactly. The Sadducees only cared about the temple. Um, they didn't believe in a Messiah. They didn't believe in dealing with anybody who wasn't rich. They only believed in the rich because they believed the rich were blessed by God because of their faith, in the here and now. Instead of them believing in a world to come, their belief in the fact that this was the only life you would have is actually why they were blessed. So that was part of their worldview and their mindset.
Mm-hmm. I heard that it was, well, actually, Root Heckler, because he actually would know more about this.
So there were already, some scriptures, from what I understand, there were already some scriptures going around that were pretty much the same as what we have today. But there were other schools of thought, like you have the Ethiopian church that has like 88 books in their Bible. You get what I mean? But the reason why I believe the Nicaeans decided to kick certain books out was because of the amount of bad doctrines that were coming in that they were having to fight off. So they were trying to unify themselves around something that they could all agree on.
All right. And the
Yes,
Essenes
yes. The
were,
Essenes are connected to the Qumran community where we get the Dead Sea Scrolls from. They had their own oral traditions, they had their own teachings, they have their own belief system. And you see that very apparent in the Dead Sea Scrolls.
the Book of Jasher is actually very tricky. I heard that the Book of Jasher that we have is likely not the ancient Book of Jasher. Um, Now there is a Book of Jasher mentioned in the Book of Joshua, I believe, but
Yeah,
I don't know
Joshua,
if
and I
we're
believe
sure we
one
have
book
it.
in the New Testament.
Yeah. The question is, do we have the right one? you know, you could
You know what?
you
That's a
can
good
tackle that.
question. I'm actually going to look into that and get back to you.
All right. So the Ashkenazi.
Actually, the Karaites would be a better pick for the Sadducees. Because, well, it depends on which Ashkenazi you're talking about, because there are Ashkenazim that are very messianic in their approach, very Hasidic in their approach, and then there are those which would follow in line with Pharisaical thought and believing in a Messiah, and then you have those Ashkenazim who, because of polemics between Jews and Christians within Europe, they decided to kind of abandon the messianic thought altogether, and they started to pretty much just keep it hidden, if you will, because they didn't want to be associated with the non-Jews. That's actually the cause and effect for a lot of different Jewish practices. Like the reason why Ashkenazim wear the little hat instead of like they wear the big hats or whatever. This all comes out of different scenarios culturally where they were being copied, or somebody else came into town who was doing something similar, so they had to distance themselves from them somehow by changing the way that they were doing things. And this is actually follows the law to not emulate your oppressors or emulate the heathens in any way.
That's interesting. Yep. Dead Sea Scrolls good. Yep. Agreed. Book of Jubilees
Yeah,
was found in the
yeah,
Dead Sea Scroll.
wealth of information. cannot be ignored. Who I do think was in a scene is Peter.
Ah,
I,
interesting.
yeah, actually, personally, I do think Peter had some Essene type of ideas because of the way that he, or if he wasn't Essene, he was House of Shammai because he didn't really want to go to the Gentiles at all, and that idea was a part of the House of Shammai and the Essenes and the Sadducees. They didn't want to deal with the Gentiles at all. Where the Pharisees, they actually wanted to bring about some type of repair between the two.
Mm. Uh, Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, Kuzari, it's definitely on there. By the way, most of these old Jewish sects, or I mean, text, we can actually get on like Amazon for like $1 each. They're not very expensive, and you'll be happy that you have it in your library. The Kuzari is actually on Amazon for like $1 if you wanted to buy it. But yes, all those books are on there, and the Kuzari is actually a funny story because there's more nuance behind that entire idea that I'm sure we'll be able to get into on another video.
Yeah, especially on your Shoob's channel because he has all the books, but the tribe is a bit.
Yeah,
um.
that guy's been debunked over and over. He he was actually trying to normalize. This is a thing a lot of people don't understand about polemics and things not happening in a vacuum, being said in a vacuum. They're being done in light of a cultural and in a cultural background. So the reason why Arthur Koestler even wrote that book was because he was trying to normalize Jews as being European in order to affect the politics of the time.
Yeah, DNA would kind of debunk the 13th tribe.
Right, right. We know for sure Ashkenazim definitely mixed with Israelites.
Right, and they're not Central Asian Turks genetically speaking.
Exactly.
Apocrypha is a Midrash.
Yes, yes, that is 100% true.
Hmm.
And yeah, that's an interesting point that she's made. I mean, that he's making because um, if when we're talking about midrash, we're talking about somebody's teaching on a subject or on a understanding that's already been handed down. Most of the New Testament is midrash. It is the understanding from the apostles given to us, and it's an oral tradition because before it was actually codified into a book, it was orated one to another. So we have to widen our perspectives a little bit.
Mm-hmm. The ones that think money means you are of God. I don't know. I don't know if that was from earlier because I'm moving a bit slow, but the Sadducees was look atheists, but Pharisees. Oh, interesting. You can tackle that one.
Yes, that's actually true. Not only that, but early Messianic Christians were looked at as atheists by the local Greek and Roman population.
That's true. Early Christians, yeah, because they only believed in one God, monotheistic. Yep. Kind of like during the time period of Akhenaten, he was a pharaoh that took on a sort of a monotheistic god, and the Egyptians did not like it one bit. He would have been kind of considered. Well, he is the heretic pharaoh after all, so. Yep. Yeah, this one is for you. Yeah, personally, I don't think the ancient Israelites did
Oh,
that.
that's just a misunderstanding. I mean, we can just look at ancient Sephardic practices, Yemenite practices, even Igbo practices. All of them did circumcision with a knife. So those who are doing that, they are being openly rebuked in public at times. So I mean, that's a straw man. That's a straw man argument. He's trying to say like, if you read those things, then you're gonna do that. And
Yeah.
it's only like a small group of European Jews who do that.
Yeah. Oh, it does. Okay, I have to look into it because I know there's two different versions of the Book of Jasher. But if the Sefer holds the correct one, then yeah, I'll definitely take a gander at it. All right, I think that is the last question. So I'm gonna end the show off here. If y'all don't have any more questions, thanks for coming on, Rue, and coming for part two. Oh, wait, hold on. There seems to be another question. Let me see. So why are the Israelis scared of it being more awakened Jews around the world? Politics. I feel like that's the most truthful answer to give.
Yeah,
Is
yeah, it's
politics.
politics. It's inner politics within the state of Israel. Some people don't want to relinquish power. Some people don't want things to change, and we got to realize that. And this is why we have to network and work from as a geopolitical force. If we're going to say we're a nation, we have to move as a nation.
Right. That's what Harry Rosenberg was talking about earlier today, where creating a political party would gain some power. If we were to somehow do that, we can make some changes, and kind of like here in the States. So that'll be
Yeah,
something to look more into.
not everybody wants the best for everybody. You know what I mean? Some people are just selfish, and some people want to keep things the way it is because they're benefiting. That's just the truth of the matter. But we got to overcome that.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, it's not good. Well, that's why our
Yeah, yeah,
ancestor
yeah. That's what
Abraham
I'm
used the
talking
knife.
about. Yep.
Yeah.
Our ancestors used a knife. I don't know what to tell you, bro. I mean, even if you go to Igbo land right now, they're called the people of the knife, and they got a statue in the king's court with a rabbi with a knife on his hip. So I don't know what to tell you. If somebody else is doing that, that's their issue. That's not mine.
Yeah. Gonna go by what Abraham did. Use a knife. No problem, no problem. This is my brother Rue, by the way. So y'all get used to seeing him on my live streams and such. I have other people in Yap Gang who will appear on my lives, so y'all be familiar with these people. Rue's actually studying to. You want me to tell you? Tell them what you're studying.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm big Juju. I'm trying to become a rabbi. I'm becoming a more. I see our examples in the community like Zion Lex, like Divine Prospect, Abba Vivens, different people throughout history who weren't afraid to go and sit under white Jews for a little bit so that they can take all that information, all that knowledge, and all that certification and give it back to their community. So that's all I'm trying to do. And if somebody hating on that, that's a personal issue.
Big facts, big facts. And so we're gonna end the show off here. But first, I want to tell y'all. So we're done with haplogroup E videos and Afroasiatic and the origins of Semite videos for a while. We're going to move to a new subject. We're going to talk about haplogroup J. That will be this Friday. Haplogroup J presentation, and a few of them will be coming out because we're going to really break down its origins, who they are academically and biblically. I feel like that's very important. Instead of using things like using certain things like saying people are Khazars or saying that people are this or that. Let's actually break down from an academic standpoint and then from a biblical standpoint, harmonize academia with the Bible and try to understand and give respect to people and try to, give our best model when it comes to understanding the ancient Near East and ancient Israel's neighbors because Israel was around a lot of different people, not just Semites. So what we have to keep in mind is we got to look at things holistically. So haplogroup J coming out this Friday. Be on the lookout for that. And once I'm done with haplogroup J, I would finally get to the Israelites and explain who I believe they are from an ancient genetic perspective. But with that all being said, check out my socials to contact me and leave a comment if you have any questions when the video is over. Try to get to them. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you like the video. And with all of that out of the way, have a great day and shalom.
Shalom.